The Science of Being Great by Wallace, Wattles. There is a principle of power in you. If you use it and apply it in a certain way, you can overcome all hereditary and master all circumstances and conditions and become a great and powerful personality. Each of us have a unique gift to offer this world. We are born with unique abilities and greatness that is within us, that is expressed through our creativity. We have the ability to solve problems that others can't solve. As an entrepreneur, you're able to create products and services that are of benefit for others in unique and powerful ways that may not have ever been introduced before. As an artist, you have a form of expression, a way of communicating that speaks the voice of the universal mind. This is the greatness. We were all born to express our greatness, which is a combination of working with the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious mind. The superconscious mind being infinite intelligence, the source of all creative inspiration, and the subconscious mind being the receiving set, which is projected outwards onto the imagination. Thus we can say that hunches, inspirations of our greatness is received via the imagination. Ever since we were children, we had the power to imagine. It's just that maybe in earlier stages of life, we honored our imagination to a higher degree. We lived in our imagination. We navigated the world through our imagination. And the world was either receiving or not so much receiving. But one of the things that we realize is that by honoring what is in our imagination, we create something that is unique and valuable. This is usually realized in later stages of life, although in earlier stages we also tend to recognize this. When I reflect back upon my life, and I realize that entrepreneurship was always who I am. I am an entrepreneur. And in earlier stages of the journey, I felt my entrepreneurship abilities express. When I was 17 years old, I found myself attracted to the internet and creating different ways of generating revenue. And I was getting checks sent to me in the mail that I never really realized was the norm. And during that time, when everybody I knew had a job, and the only way of making money that I was exposed to was for trading your time for money, I thought that what I was doing was not valid and it wasn't going to last. Now, when I talked to others about my experience of doing this at that time, they revealed to me my doubts within. What I realize now in this current state is that they weren't causing me to doubt myself, but rather reveal the doubts within. Where did the doubts come from? Perhaps it's from earlier stages of life, prior to that. But regardless, we all experience moments in our life where we have allowed ourselves to express our greatness and have it materialize in the external world into form. The question is, do we continue to honor it? The purpose of this video is to connect back to that greatness, to encourage it so that we can express it. Your uniqueness and your greatness is a gift to this world. Individuals have the ability to identify and express their greatness, which creates harmoniousness in their lives and is experienced with harmoniousness within. A lot of my discussions, I talk about the relationship between the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. Conscious mind being directing towards a specific worthwhile ideal, the subconscious mind being creation, and the superconscious mind being infinite intelligence, the source of inspiration, hunches, and your greatness. So in other words, we have a purpose, and we can identify what our purpose is, and we can honor that purpose and continue to live it till it is expressed fully. And if we choose, we can help others, inspire others to do the same. The truth is this, however, it is all within you. It has always been within you, and you can reflect back and realize that you've had experiences with this. However, now you've chosen to honor this to a higher degree, to allow it to express, and not let the doubts that are within you take precedent over the identifying and expressing of the greatness. Greatness exists in all individuals, and building a relationship with our inner voice reveals our greatness. Building a relationship with our inner voice. Again, going back to my own experience, when I reflect back on that experience that I had, where I was able to apply my natural entrepreneurship abilities and create success, I realized that these ideas and hunches and inspirations to create whatever it is that I was creating back then came from my own inner voice. Ideas that I said, what if I could do something? And it wasn't anyone else that taught me. Yes, I was experiencing stimulus from the external world, but it was mostly through listening to my own inner voice that I was starting to understand my greatness. Now, at the current stage, and being an entrepreneur full-time for 10 years, I realize that the inner voice plays a huge role in my decision-making process. I'm open to understanding the opinions of others and looking at the various data that exists in reality. But the ultimate decision comes from within, of what I decide to do. And the reason why I formed this conclusion is because through many reference experiences, I realized that by listening to my inner voice and following the inner voice advice, my connection within between the harmonious relationship of the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, whatever it is that I expressed materialized in a way that I wanted to see. In other words, I was able to achieve what I desired to create. And when I dishonored it by doubting myself, it was reflected in the external world as people that communicated doubt to me. It wasn't them, but it was me within and my doubts within that was expressed in the external world to reveal my own doubts within. And by honoring the inner voice, I no longer experience the doubts to that degree, and then I find myself not experiencing the reflection of that in the external world of people, environment, and circumstance. Rather, I feel the honoring and moving forward on what is revealed to me via my inner voice. As a result, my own creative expression is projected outwards and received by others. It's received as value. It's valuable for them. It's a benefit to them. And we all have this ability to do the same thing. I've spoken on this journey through countless entrepreneurs and those that are creators in reality who honor their creative expression and allow it to express freely through them to create value in the world, to create beauty in the world, diversity in the various elements related to their greatness that is unique to them. And all of them universally listen to their own inner voice. As Steve Jobs said in his commencement speech, don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And as we further identified, the opinions are there as data so that we could value it, but it doesn't need to sway the ultimate decision that comes from within our inner voice. Facts that exist in the external world that hinder or diminish your greatness do not need to be entertained, or they will break the connection to your true identity. Facts in the external world came as a result of thought and various experiences that have been cross-referenced and are a net result of looking at effect. And you have the ability to create your own unique contribution to the world that may go beyond the existing facts. If it did not honor this way of thinking, then we wouldn't have breakthroughs in technology, entrepreneurship, and the various arts, and so forth. If a person just looked at what was created in the external world and limited themselves through that lens, a lot of times they wouldn't be able to allow their own unique greatness, which may have been contrarian to those facts, to be expressed. Circumstances reveal to you about yourself and elements of belief that you have identified with from 5 sensory data plus meaning. So in this existence, we have 5 senses, and we have data we receive in the 5 senses, and we have meaning assigned to this data, usually meaning we get from others. We also have our 6th sense, which is our creative imagination. And that is data that both the data from the external world, 5 sensory, and the data from within the 6th sense impresses itself on the subconscious mind and expresses accordingly. What is expressed via the subconscious mind in the external world through people, environment, and circumstance reveals to us about what is within ourselves and the beliefs and that what we have associated with. The question becomes, what do we honor more? Do we honor the 6th sense and the meaning we create inside, if it's harmonious to bringing forth our greatness and expressing it? Or do we honor the meaning from the external world that denies it? Well, one of the things that I have realized on this journey, and that I help my clients realize, is that they can learn to trust their inner voice and test and express that what their inner voice tells them to do. And realize that what they express will be unique, and from there it will reveal data, and they can interpret that via your inner voice while keeping in consideration that what they have learned. And a lot of times, most of the learning that they have within their scope of experiences, education, and so forth in their life has been stored in the subconscious mind, and the experience that is reflected as a result of honoring that uniqueness idea is then reflected upon via the subconscious and compared to all that data that they've been accumulated so they can take the next step. In other words, they find their own unique path. Now, that just might be a long way of explaining it, but to simplify it, you can choose to honor that what you believe is your greatness, express it outwards. Imagine that you can create that what you desire. Believe it's possible. Express it outwards. Have the confidence and faith to try it. And look at what you receive as a result of trying. And identify your own meaning to that data that is received. And if you continue down this trend, what you'll notice is you'll optimize and be able to create that what you desire. Now, this is the same truth when it comes to innovation and the same truth when it comes to entrepreneurship. I've learned a lot from people when it comes to entrepreneurship, books, mentors, and so forth. But what I've also realized is that there's my own unique way of creating success in the entrepreneurial world. And I have to allow that assimilated information, which Napoleon Hill calls synthetic imagination-based components, and my creative imagination to work together harmoniously to create something unique, more valuable. Or I choose to, a lot of times, honor my own unique creative imagination above synthetic imagination. The choice is up to you what you decide to do, but the fundamental truth still remains that you have something unique to offer. And through this process, you discover and express your own uniqueness. Do not let other people decide what you are to be. Be what you feel that you want to be. People may think that they know what's best for you, when they can never truly know what it is like to be you. We are so unique, and we have so much complexity within us, that when we encourage our own greatness, when we allow our creativity to express, we're able to reveal in the external world our uniqueness. And that uniqueness is so specific to us that sometimes we might allow ourselves to allow the thinking of others to throttle our creativity and put us into categories that is not related to who we really are. We live in a time right now where consciousness is rising. And more people are choosing to express themselves the way they choose to express themselves. And the results of this expression is creative output. Now, for me, I talk a lot about in the world of entrepreneurship, creativity being one of the important elements. And the more people we have encouraging their creative imagination, the more we will find creative innovation. Creative innovation is a net result of a person honoring their greatness. And continuing to honor the greatness will not only bring forth the creative innovation, but will also help in the marketing of the creative innovation, the optimization of the creative innovation, as well as the operational, whatever other pieces related to the business, fulfillment of that creative innovation. That is still a net result of them honoring their greatness within. And always remember this, that you know what's best for yourself, and others can never truly know what is best for you. And your goal is to allow yourself to express. Watch what happens in the external world when you do express. Encourage that expression and consume empowering information. Be in empowering environments. Surround yourself with empowering people who encourage you to express. And understand as well that if they don't encourage you to express, that it's not really their fault. They don't understand that they're not allowing themselves to express, and so they might assume that you need to fit in that category. You take the responsibility and allow yourself to express. Each individual is so unique that only themselves understand what is their own greatness. Now, you might come across people on the journey that will encourage your greatness. They will understand your greatness to a large degree. But the truth still remains that only you know your own unique greatness. The level that you understand is only going to be based on what you have within you in your inner conversation. And your goal is to make that a priority. To realize, first of all, that you are unique and it is your own gift to express that creative outlet, whatever way you form, that uniqueness to share with the external world in the spirit of harmony. And that is found by honoring and accepting your own greatness and making it a priority. That what uplifts your spirits is that what you are destined to be. This is a clue. What is it that inspires you? What is it that uplifts you? What is it that elevates you into a higher degree of motivation? Whatever it is, that is what you're destined to be. In different stages of life, different things, different experiences uplift our spirits. This is also a form of creative expressions because as we express those areas, we learn more about ourselves. It's not always that what uplifts us is going to express as a figuring out of what the purpose is fully, but it could be a clue that leads you down the path towards realization. For me, I've always seen signs of communication skills and certain kinds of behaviors that I have that I now encourage, organization skills, leadership skills, and allowing myself to express subconsciously and understanding the mind as fascinations that I've always had in my life. And it has always uplifted my spirits. And it's always revealed itself in different stages of my life, wearing different masks. And as a result of connecting the dots looking backwards, I realized that these are core characteristics that will always be universal to my own greatness, not only through expression, but contribution in cultivating in others. Entrepreneurship being a key area as well. Wisdom is the power to perceive the best ends to aim at and the best means for reaching those ends. It is the power to perceive the right thing to do. Processes of reason do not often reach knowledge of truth. Perception is found within and may be altered by borrowing perceptions from another rather than understanding our own perception. Now, it's good to perceive reality from another person. It's also good to honor our own perception of reality and understand that there's infinite potentiality for perception of how to look about reality. And each unique form of perception of looking at reality is based on the individual. What is the most harmoniousness within? Harmoniousness within is found by honoring that what uplifts our spirit and also reflecting upon the perception that we have upon reality. And if we believe that it is something that is true to us, that perhaps that is our perception of reality, our lens of looking at reality, that is required to create that what we desire. And what we desire is to express our greatness. So by allowing ourselves to perceive the way we want to perceive, by allowing ourselves to choose that what uplifts our spirits, we allow ourselves to express and create in the external world from that lens, which will be the net result of our greatness. Both the ends is determined within, and the means for reaching the end is also found within. So we can follow advice, and we can do things the way that other people show us, and that may or may not be harmonious. But there comes a point in our life where we realize that the choice of the destination is found within, and we honor that, we'll find a greater degree of happiness. And we'll also find the ways about reaching that end result from within. See, there are many reasonable ways that have been discovered to reach an end result, and there are many more reasonable ways that have not been discovered yet to reach the end result. If you look at reality and say, all that exists is the totality of the possibility of how to get to a destination, we limit ourselves. We limit our own creativity from being expressed in our own unique way and finding our own ways. Again, this goes back to the statement that I had learned from Steve Jobs in his commencement speech when he said, "We can't connect the dots looking forward, we can only connect them looking backwards." So that what you desire to create, once created, you can reverse engineer and reflect back on what you did, and yes, you could share that process with another person. But it's probably not the only way. And somebody else might come along and create that same end result in a different way. Each of them creating it in a way that's unique to them. Now the question becomes, what is the most harmonious way? Well, if there's many ways that have not been discovered, perhaps the way to create that what you desire, the most harmonious way, is unique to you. Honoring that, reflecting upon that, and allowing that to express is to not only identify your greatness, but it is to encourage it and realize it and develop the confidence and faith in yourself that you could repeat the process again and again. The use of prayer and affirmation is to change your habit of thought. Any act, mental or physical, often repeated, becomes a habit. The purpose of mental exercises is to repeat certain thoughts over and over until the thinking of those thoughts become constant and habitual. The thoughts we continuously repeat become convictions. Now, why is this important? What we're discussing here is my experience and my reflections, not just on this book, but my own concept of identifying what it takes to become great and how unique it is. And if any of these ring true to you, then what we want to do is we want to affirm these. We want to encourage these thoughts. Maybe we need to listen to this video a handful of times. Maybe we need to pull key insights and turn them into specific affirmations that we can use to reprogram our subconscious mind so that we can constantly be reminded of that what is related to not only finding the greatness within, but expressing it and making it a priority. A single new thought reflected upon from many different perspectives will lead to a habitual thought. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do I find my definite chief aim? And I'll probably do a discussion on that in the upcoming video, and this is very much related. For me, when I came across Think and Grow Rich, my first definite chief aim was just to get out of $50,000 debt. In the process of getting out of $50,000 debt, I realized my own unique greatness to a higher degree. And then after creating another definite chief aim and realizing that and doing it again and again and again to the point where every definite chief aim I have brought forth, I realized my own unique greatness and I allowed my greatness to express. And in the process, I built my connection with my inner voice. Now, as a result of doing that, I was able to figure out how to create a definite chief aim. But the bottom line is this, is that if you first believe that greatness is within you, and then you consume information, you find yourself under people, environment, and circumstance that reflect that that is the way it is, it will become a habitual thought, and you will start to uncover your own way. Perhaps it's a combination of what I share with you. Perhaps it's a combination of what is shared by many that have also realized what purposeful life and what greatness is to them. But the process of encouraging the thought that greatness is possible and that you have the way that is unique within you, that is unique to you, and that's valuable, reflecting upon it from multiple perspectives, will affirm that and allow you to navigate reality from that perspective. Supporting information consumed from people, environment, and circumstance that is harmonious to your greatness will affirm the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that reflect. And remember, thoughts become convictions which harden into facts as far as the five senses perceive. So perhaps you're surrounded by, maybe to a large degree or maybe to some degree, facts in the external world that deny your greatness. When you encourage the thoughts that build your greatness, identify your greatness, allow your greatness to express, you'll find yourself entertaining and consuming more thoughts, information, and external world data, which you will assign meaning to be harmonious to that thought of identifying greatness and honoring it. And that information will impress itself on the subconscious mind, and express outwards to materialize into form people, environment, circumstance, and information to verify those facts as far as your senses perceive. And then what will happen is you will have a firm conviction on the process. Now, this is equally true when it comes to identifying greatness, expressing greatness, than it is to throttling your greatness, never realizing your greatness. Whatever you think as far as your thoughts, repeatedly, will become conviction and will express outwards and harden into facts. Because you will find all the facts in the external world to reveal it. This is how the mind works. Or, if you think contrarian thoughts to that, ones that are harmonious, you will also find the facts in the external world, or you'll create your own facts that are true to you that will keep you in that state. Greatness is only attained by the constant thinking of great thoughts. No man can become great in outward personality unless he is great internally. And no man can be great internally until he thinks. So what is it that we think about? Do we think about now at this point, make a commitment to ourselves that we're going to think about our own greatness, to believe that it's possible, and make a commitment that we're going to identify it and honor it and allow it to express? The constant thinking of this allows you to identify and express your own greatness. So surround yourself with information that affirms your greatness, and you will find yourself subconsciously expressing it automatically. Why? Because the information we take in via the five senses, or the sixth sense in the imagination, and the meaning we give to it impresses itself on the subconscious mind and expresses automatically. We can create and feed our mind greatness-based sensory input via the imagination, and it can be made to be more powerful and impressive than five sensory data plus meaning. This is the power of working with the creative imagination. If the five senses deny your greatness, then you can imagine your greatness within. You can imagine yourself identifying with your greatness, discovering it, and it will show up. And that will impress itself in the subconscious mind to reveal in the external world more areas where you see your greatness revealed to you in the external world. Perhaps it's in conversations. Whatever your creative expression is, it will be revealed to you in the external world as you impress it in the imagination via your subconscious mind, or I should say, as you allow your imagination to impress your subconscious mind and make that a priority. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. Greatness within is reflected through people, environment, and circumstance in the external world. The earlier stages, if you do not allow your greatness to express out of you, you won't get the people, environment, and circumstance that will be revealing it to you because it's not being expressed out of you. Then when you make a commitment that you're going to make it a priority and you allow your greatness to express from within you, you'll start to notice that people will receive it. Environment will be harmonious with it. Circumstance will be harmonious with it in the external world to reveal to you that your greatness was your purpose and that the expression of it is becoming in form. The function of the will is to direct thought. Think about the good side of men, the lovely, attractive part, and exert your will in refusing to think of anything else in connection with them. Always remember this. If you want to find your greatness, find the greatness in others. What you think of others is how you think of yourself. The outer world is a reflection of you. If you think ill of others and you don't see greatness in others, you're probably not actively looking or believing that you have that greatness within you. Maybe you see some greatness within you, but you see a lot of negativity in others. Still, you're not allowing that greatness to be revealed within you. By finding the greatness in others, by recognizing the greatness in others, by allowing others to express their own greatness, you give yourself permission to express accordingly, because that information will impress itself on your subconscious mind to encourage your own level of greatness to be expressed. How you express to others is how they will reflect to you. Okay? How you express to others is how they will reflect to you. So if you express your own version of greatness onto others, they will receive it and you will start to identify the greatness in them and you will receive it. And what you'll start to notice is greatness in others. See, when we're talking about greatness here, we're not talking about it from an egotistical perspective. Okay, we're talking about it from a place of contribution. Your contribution in life is your greatness. That's how you create. And by creating from your place of greatness, you see the greatness in others and you encourage it through the being when you're in their presence for them to express their own greatness. Because we evoke the aspects in another that are our convictions of them. Our convictions of another person is evoked in our interactions with them, through them, to reveal to us about ourselves. If you see greatness in others because you encourage your own greatness, then you evoke the greatness in them. Maybe they have never seen themselves as great, but because you personally encourage it so much in yourself, if they find themselves in your presence, automatically they start to get hunches about their own greatness, and they begin to encourage it. We call that state transference. All men are made of one intelligent substance, and therefore all contain the same essential powers and possibilities. Greatness is equally inherent in all, and may be manifested by all. Every person may become great. Every constitute of God is a constitute of man. Infinite intelligence that created everything is available within us by connecting with our inner voice and identifying our greatness and expressing it a priority. What is it? Take an inventory of the different elements that uplifts your spirits, that brings out the best of who you are. For me, it's always those elements that put me into a state of flow. Flow being challenge meeting skill, and having a sense of excitement moving towards a specific worthwhile outcome. The different capabilities and the different elements that make up that journey reveal to me my greatness. And over the years, I began to encourage them even more and make a priority of developing them. I did a discussion on the concept of ikigai, which is essentially doing what you love to do, what the world needs, what you are good at, and what you can get paid for. And what you can get paid for doesn't necessarily have to mean money. Whatever way you want to receive the value, because whatever you put out comes back to you. Your greatness, as expressed, will be received in the spirit of harmony by evoking and receiving the greatness from others. The spirit of harmony is your world where all within it are realizing their own greatness and expressing it to co-create harmoniously. This is one of the benefits of realizing your greatness, making it a priority, and expressing it, is that you will find yourself in harmonious relationships with others who also allow their greatness to be expressed. Always remember that the one intelligent substance reveals to you your own version of greatness in your imagination. And that is true for you to bring forth. It's unique to you. What is it? Greatness and the idea can come off as being very esoteric and very generic. But each person has their own definition of greatness, and that's the premise of this video. It's not to tell you what is great, but rather to assist you in helping you find your own greatness, which is found in your imagination and your inner voice. Building a relationship with yourself and trusting yourself and listening to yourself is the way to identify your greatness. The truth is, since we were children, we work with our imagination, is that we've always had clues of our greatness. By connecting the dots and reflecting upon past revelations of our greatness, we encourage it further. And by listening to our inner voice, we make it a priority. And as we express it, we not only find our greatness to a higher degree through the journey. As mentioned, I've realized many definite chief aims, and each time I realize a definite chief aim, I realize my own unique ability and greatness that I was to contribute to the world. You make that a priority, and you find your own creative way of expressing it to create harmoniously in the external world. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.